Hi everyone. I normally would say welcome to Craft Addict K, but I changed the channel's name this morning to Karla's Stitching Journey. So welcome everyone to Karla's Stitching Journey. This is our first episode, we will say, in 2025. It is video number 108 according to YouTube. And why not start off with a WIP parade? So this will be my 2024 WIP parade. I did not do an end of the year for December wrap up because I'm showing you all of my WIPs. I did do a giveaway at the end of my November wrap up. So if you are interested in those items, please watch my November wrap up video and leave a comment. And you will be entered into that drawing, and I will do that on my January wrap up. We'll do the drawings for those. You must be 18 so that you can give me your address, and please be a subscriber to the channel. Hopefully you'll find something here that you'll like and you'll want to see adventure-wise. If you watched my latest video on my Wheel of Fortune, that was a lot of fun, showing you my finishes, and I'm head fast into my Wheel of Fortune, and we have a finish. So my first finish for 2025, we will start the video out right, is Dressed Monkey on the Throne. This is her, and I purchased this, I believe, on Etsy. If you look on Amazon and you just do a search for, or not on Amazon, but even Google, and do a search for Dressed Monkey on the Throne, she will come up. There is a boy companion piece somewhere. I saw the pattern one time. I didn't purchase it. He's got a blue outfit. I think it's a companion piece. If you know it, where it's at, or if you have it, please reach out to me. I'd love to be able to stitch the companion. This was a really fun stitch, and it's got a lot of colors you wouldn't think would be in here. I'm going to try and see if I can even come in a little bit closer so you can see her, hopefully. And so that is the first finish of 2025. It was finished January 1st, 2025. It's the one I talked about having some stitches to do on my last video. And the other thing I wanted to show you today is we have a new member in our household here. Excuse my booty. Come here, Chester. Come meet everybody. This is Chester. Chester, meet everybody. Chester is 5 years old, and we rescued him from our local animal shelter. And I'll insert some pictures because now he wants to get down and take his bath. But he's typically a lazy cat, and he's not been messing much. Marley, my daughter's cat, is not real friendly with him. Not yet. All right, so let's get started on the WIP parade. Today's WIP parade is going to be a little bit different than past WIP parades that I've had, and hopefully you're not tired of the WIP parade yet. The reason it is different is because I don't have an extra set of hands to help me bring all the things out, and in order to get ready for our new addition, Mr. Chester the cheetah here, in order to get ready for his arrival, I wanted to move some of the things out of my stitching room so that this has kind of been his place to get comfortable. And he's starting to venture out a little bit into the rest of the house as he's gotten more comfortable with us. So I'm going to tell you about the project, and I'm going to be inserting photos as we go along. And it is in no particular order other than my list here is in alphabetical order. So I'll probably go in alphabetical order and insert pictures as I go. And I will let you know if I did any stitches on it. And if I need to, I will look up. If I forget to tell you what fabric it's on, please feel free to reach out if you really want to know what fabric it is, because I'm going by memory. Excuse me, it's what fabric I used. I had a coffee. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I needed my coffee. So this is going to require a lot of editing on my part. So here we go. Ready? Our first project up is A Place of Our Own. This is a Heaven and Earth design by James Christenson. I started this December 19th, 2020. 2021, thanks to Lydia in Lydia's Stitching Adventure, I believe is the name of her channel. I had put 0 stitches in it in this past year, and I don't anticipate it getting any stitches in the coming year. It's kind of one of those ones that I put in prison for a bit. So I'm just going to show you, here is what the project looks like, and here is where I am. Next is a Rosy Night by Ching-Chou. It is a Heaven and Earth design as well. It was started October 21st, 2019. This year I have put 1,047 stitches into it. It has a total of 8,157 stitches. So this is where I was in 2023 if I had the picture to compare, and this is where I am now. Next up is a Tisket a Tasket. This is from Rosewood Manor. This was a SAL that I recently started October 23rd, 2024. It has 1,600 stitches in it. And this is where I am. It is on a piece of 25 count Grace Notes fabrics. I believe it is Georgiana, I believe. Let me just look in my handy dandy notebook here and I will tell you, because it's the most recent. Daniel. It is on a 25 count piece of Grace Notes fabrics called Daniel. I am stitching it 1/1 with Weeks Dye Works that is called for. And that received 1,600 stitches so far since starting in October. Next up is a Walk Through the Highlands by Jasmine, Becket, Griffith. It is another full coverage from Heaven and Earth Design. It has not received any stitches since this last year. It may get some stitches in 2025, I'm not sure. So far I have 21,340 stitches entered in it, and this is what it will look like, and this is where I am now. Next up is the ABC Little House Sampler Set. This is by Little House Needleworks. I started this December 9th, 2020. It did not get any stitches in 2024. It has a total of 522 stitches so far. My plan is I started in the center and I'm doing the alphabet blocks working out. Next up is Addie's Window by Gustafson. Started August 16th, 2020. It received no stitches in the past year, and it is a Heaven and Earth design called Addie's Window. I do have a total of 14,986 stitches in it currently. Next up is Alligator Girl by Jasmine, Becket, Griffith. This was started July 22nd, 2020. It had 7,911 stitches in this past year, with a total of 32,156 stitches. It is current. This is where I started in 2023, and this is where we are currently. This will get attention this year. I have a 4,000 stitch quarterly goal on this that may get increased as the year progresses. Next up is Amazing Animal Kingdom. This is by Aimee Stewart. It was started October 20th, 2020. You will find that 2020 was a start all the things kind of a year for me. It is a Heaven and Earth design. This last year, I put 11,974 stitches in it. Oh, I am telling you wrong. I think I've got this mixed up. In this past year, I put 4,031 stitches in it. And year to date, it has 11,974 stitches. So this is where it started, and this is where it is currently. Next up, I have Anzak. Anzak received no stitches in the past year. She has 7,399 stitches put in so far. I am doing this with a DMC. It is on a I will tell you. 1 second. Anzak was one of the ones. that I started on a piece of fabric from Australia. Paddock Lane Designs, and it's a fabric called Neapolitan. I do not have the fabric count, but I think it's 28 count. And I am stitching over 2, I believe. Next up is Autumn Owl. That is Heaven and Earth design by Annya Kai. It was started March 22nd, 2020. It received no stitches this year, so this is where I am with it. Next is Autumn Quaker, a Rosewood Manor. It is started August 15th, 2019 on Picture This Plus fabric. It received no stitches this past year. It was started as a sal with Guernani Stitchery and the Sunshine Stitchers. And everybody's finished all the seasons. I'm still working on this one. Next up is Baby Yoda from Zanna Cross Stitch Etsy. December 28th, 2021 is when it was started. Received no stitches this year. I started this for Samantha and have not felt inclined to go back to stitching on it yet. Next up is California Dreaming by Haynie. It is a Heaven and Earth design. It received no stitches this year. I have a total of 10,734 stitches in it, and it was started November 7th of 2020. Next up is Chocolate, Chocolate, More Chocolate by Randall Spangler. It is on 25 count easy grid, which I should say here is all of my full coverages, unless I tell you otherwise, is 25 count easy grid, and it is full cross 1/1 on all of my full coverages. Chocolate, Chocolate, More Chocolate was started December 30th, 2021. I put 3,710 stitches on it in this past year. It is one that you will see because I am working on getting it to a finish this year. It has a total of 9,656 stitches currently stitched on it. Next up is Crispy Bacon. Crispy Bacon is by Silver Creek Samplings. It is in one of their, the Pun book, which was a recent release. And I am currently working on that one. But this is where I was at the end of the year. Next up is Christmas Window number 5 by Sara Guernani. This is December 20th, 2022 start. It was a sal start. It received 1,011 stitches this year. And I plan to do more stitches, but right now it's kind of on the sidelines. Next up is Cotswold Fields by Teresa Kogut. Started December 26th, 2021. No stitches this year. Dragonkin by Ann Stokes. Started in September 19th, 2020. No stitches this year. I have 3,338 stitches in it total. Next up is Dreaming of Tulip Sal. This is by Rosewood Manor. December 25th, 2021. This one was passed around. It is on a piece of fabric from, it's peanut butter and jelly. And I can't think the name of their, Fortnite Fabrics. That's what it is. It's peanut butter and jelly with Fortnite Fabrics. It is going to be going on another trip this year. It's going to get passed around. It is part of Grace Notes Fabrics. She has a small group of us that are doing Rosewood Manor flowers, and we are doing a round robin. So I will be mailing this off to someone else to work on, and I'll get it back at the end of the year. Next up is Family Circus. Family Circus by Richard Lorenz was started December 25th, 2023. It has a total of 6,871 stitches. I did not put any stitches in it in the past year. Next up is Feliz Navidad by Blackbird Designs. It has had no stitches in the past year, and I'm kind of at a standstill because the color, I need to change some of the colors of the letters, and I just never swapped it out because of the fabric choice. Next up is Folk Witch by Medusa Dollmaker. It's a Gecko Rouge design. Started June 4th, 2021, and it has a total of 6,383 stitches entered in it. Okay, let's take a little break. Like my shirt, who says that cross stitch is an exercise? It is to me. You should have seen me exercise and cleaning this room up. Okay, next up, Happy Campers. This is by Jeffrey Severn. It is a full coverage from Heaven and Earth Designs. Started October 11th, 2020. It is a total of 5,527 stitches. No stitches were done in this past year. Next up is Harbor Haven by the Bay series. If I have the picture for this, I'm not sure if I remember taking a picture for this. November 13th, 2020. No stitches in the past year. It has 1,096 stitches in it. Next up is Heart of Spring by Ching-Chou Cook by Heaven and Earth Designs. Started September 18th, 2020. It has had no stitches in the last year. It does have a current total of 3,031 stitches. Next is Heaven and Nature Sing by Donna Gelsinger. Started September 28th, 2020. No stitches in the past year. It has a total of 4,774 stitches. Next up is Heritage Sampler by Plum Street Sampler. No stitches in the past year. Total of 2,034 stitches put in. It was started December 19th, 2021. Next up is Holiday Quaker by Lila Studio. This started December 24th, 2021. It had 1,054 stitches in this past year. No, I'm lying. It had 425 stitches placed in this past year with a total of 1,054 stitches in all. It will get some stitches this year because this one was selected as my swap project for my little house that spun on my Wheel of Fortune. I decided to do Lila Studios Holiday Quaker, and it will get 1,000 stitches in that swap for this month. Next up is Huckleberry Farm by the Blue Flower. It was started December 30th, 2021, and it received 2,595 stitches for this year. It has a total of 9,333 stitches in it. It will be a finish for 2025. Next up is Liberty's Welcome by Plum Street Sampler. It is no stitches in the past year. It's had 4,013 stitches in all, and it is one that's sitting on the sidelines waiting to come out and play. Little House Neighborhood by Little House Needleworks started December 29th, 2021. This past year I put 5,000. What did I do? This past year I think I put 4,356 stitches. So it has a total of 5,965 stitches. I think it's got about 9,000 stitches left. This will be a finish for 2025. It is one that is out in for this quarter that I will be stitching on. It's one that came up for my swap. So it got swapped out for the month. Next up is the Magic Rainbow Study by Rose Kahn. It is a full coverage. It's by Heaven and Earth Designs. Started December 24th, 2021. It received 3,262 stitches in this past year, which gives it a total of 3,711 total stitches entered. Next up, Mrs. Brightside by Thomas Fedro. It is a Gecko Rouge pattern. Started June 10th, 2022. It received 1,587 stitches for the year. It has a total of 7,506 stitches entered. Next up is Museum Shelf by Aimee Stewart. It was started September 6th, 2020. It received no stitches in this past year. It has a total of 5,106 stitches entered so far. Next is Newcastle Bouquet by Teresa Kogut. Started May 10th, 2020. This past year I put 1,433 stitches in, and it has a total of 5,428 total stitches. I'm doing this on picture plus fabric, 36 count, 1/1. No, it is not 36 count 1/1. It is 1/2 36 count. Next up is Nightingale by Nora Corbett. It was started September 15th, 2023, thanks to Diane. I did 503 stitches and no more this past year. And that was actually thanks to Tiffany, because I made the comment that from Black Cat X Stitchery that I don't have any pretty ladies, and so she challenged me to do that. That's as far as I got. Number 37 is Nightshade. That is by Sheena Pike. It is a Heaven and Earth design. At the time, I don't believe you can get these on Heaven and Earth any longer. August 30th, 2023 was started because of Diana, and I put 1,056 stitches on it this year. Next up is Night Walk Down by the Blue Flower. Started May 15th, 2020. It received 232 stitches the last time I stitched on it. Not much this year. Next up is Once Upon a Fairy Tale. I call this my red dress by Jenna Della Grottaglia, and that is a Heaven and Earth design. It was started February 20th, 2020. It received 1,250 stitches. This was a new start in 2024. So I'm going to say that that is a wrong date now, because I had a restart in 2024 and I really enjoy stitching on it. November 29th, 2024. Next up is One Nation by Gone Stitches. Started May 8th, 2020. 1,066 stitches put in it this year. I did Phantom of the Opera next, Aimee Stewart. This will be seeing more attention this year because it is one of my 15 that I will be rotating through. I'd like to get it finished. I don't know that I will be finished this year, but this is one of my oldest WIPs, started November 1st, 2019. It is a quick stitch from Aimee Stewart's Heroes and Heroines. It's a little snippet of that. I really like stitching on it, and I'm using treasure braid instead of cranic. Next up is Pink Flamingo Stocking by Stony Creek Magazine. No stitches this year, but this is where I am at. Next is Rise of the Witches by Lisa Parker. Again, no stitches this year, but this is where I am. Rosie the Riveter by Sara Bowerstock. This is a Gecko Rouge pattern. No stitches again this year, but this is where I am with it. Sonora by Jasmine Becket Griffith. No stitches this year. This is where I am. Savior's Praise by Shakespeare Peddler. No stitches this year. It has a total of 1,795 stitches. This is where I am. Next up is Stargazer by Jeff Haynie. This is a Heaven and Earth design. It was a limited edition. You can no longer receive it. I started it October 30th, 2020. My husband calls this one the Tenter Dude. He really likes it. This past year, I did put 28,372 stitches on it, and I am hoping to get it over 40% this year. It is one of my 15 in rotation, and I have an 8,000 stitch quarter goal on it for the first quarter of 2025. I really like stitching on this one. I probably, if I was going to be a monogamous stitcher, this would probably be the one I would stitch, because it goes from the blues to a little bit of confetti back to less confetti, and it just, the bouts of confetti have been short lived throughout the piece, so I like that, and I like the detail. Next up is Sunday Delight by Randall Spangler. This was a rack random act of kindness given to me by Joni from the Virtual Stitchers, and started it May 9th, 2020. I did not do any stitches this past year, but it does have 22,910 stitches in it altogether. I kind of got hung up around where the cranic was needed on the cherry jars, where I kind of got hung up a little bit. I'm doing much better now, and I have continued on the process. Sunday Delight will probably be one of the ones I will swap if I roll a swap in my Wheel of Fortune game. So I don't know that you won't see it again this coming year, but I really like stitching on it, so I imagine it will get pulled out. Next up is Take It Easy by Jeffrey Severn, another Heaven and Earth Designs. Started September 5th, 2020. No stitches this year. Again, I really like this piece. I would like to get some stitches in it, but you know, there's only so many times in a day. Next up is The Big Pig by Jonathan Wolstenholme. This was started with a friend, Lynn. who she wanted to stitch it. Nobody would stitch it with her. Everybody was laughing at her about the pig, and I'm like, I'll stitch it with you. And I actually restarted it to put it on a little bit of a darker fabric. So it is not on easy grid fabric, because I wanted the white. There's a lot of white in this, and I wanted it to be able to show up when I was stitching. There's nothing worse than stitching white on white. And that was started October 27th, 2023. Next up is Trick or Treat 2 by Randall Spangler, October 9th, 2020. This year I did 2,017 stitches. It has a total of 7,502 stitches in it. And I do like stitching on it. I am using the Royal Row method for it, and I do like that. Got me out of the leaves that are in the corner. Next up is Twilight by James Christenson. I like this one as well. October 10th, 2020. It reminds me of an old couple. I tease my husband and say this is going to be us someday. It is 16,177 total stitches. You can see on her where I've gotten her hair, but I have not done any stitches in this past year, so this is where I am. Next up is Twin Towers in Flag, and this is by Artisy. It is started August 31st, 2020. This one tends to call to me a lot in the month of September because of September 11th. I originally started this as a gift for my in-laws who live in New York, and to honor the September 11th, because my kids don't even know what that was. I was in the military during September 11th, and I'm sure many of you know where you were when that happened so long ago. But when you think about it, September 11th, 2011, it is now, today is January 5th, 2025. How many of our young people never lived through something like that? I hope that they never have to. That is my hope. So far, I have 11,535 stitches in this. It is one of my Wheel of Fortune WIPs, so it will get more attention and maybe potentially a finish. I only have a low quarterly goal on it. It's 2,000, which happens to be what I spun on my Wheel of Fortune game for it. So if I get the 2,000 stitches, that means it's done for the quarter, and I may bring out a different project, or I can increase my quarterly goal. I'll have to look and see how I'm doing with my other projects. Next up is my U.S. travel shelf. I started this as a sal that I created with some friends, and we are in a messaging group, and we message each other's progress. And when we started it, we were doing the first week of the month, or 1 week out of the month was going to be dedicated to stitching on U.S. Travel Shelf by Aimee Stewart. And this is a Heaven and Earth design. I started it October 6th, 2023. In this year, I put 13,765 stitches on it. I truly enjoy stitching it. I originally started, I was going to do it the Royal Row method, and then I since converted to doing it like books at a time. So I could see a little bit more of the progress and see more of the books as I was going across. It has a total of 17,780 stitches. And last but not least is Welcome to the North Pole Sal by Primrose Cottage. It was started August 11th, 2023 at the very first Grace Notes Fabrics retreat that happened, and I did not do any stitches on it in this past year. And a matter of fact, the only stitches I've done on it are the 463 stitches I did at the retreat. It does need to get some attention, and I will potentially pull it out and possibly give it some stitches this year. So those are my active WIPs, which currently gives me a grand total of, I want to say, let me make sure I don't have Dress Monkey on here. Yep, Dress Monkey I took off. So that gives me a total of 58 WIPs that I'm going into 2025 with. And I can tell you, I've already had a new start. I've actually had 2 new starts that are not part of this, that you will see at the end of January for my January wrap up. So I hope that you've enjoyed this WIP parade. Hopefully that I can edit it and get all the things I need to do and put all the pictures in for you. I know I have a lot of dates and a lot of data, but hopefully you got some stitches while you watched. And let's start off my Karla's stitching journey on a good foot with a really proper WIP parade. And hopefully we will talk soon. Bye everybody. Happy stitching.